After all the talk and build-up, North Central used a dominating second half to run away from Illinois Wesleyan University in Bloomington, moving to 8-0 with a 46-17 victory. But the Cardinals' schedule doesn't get any easier. To remain unbeaten, NCC will have to take back the Little Brass Bell in Wheaton against the Thunder. We get you ready for the highly anticipated matchup next on the Red Zone. Welcome inside the Red Zone. I'm Justin ZIPSER. North Central head coach John Thorne joins us to open the show. John, thank you for joining us as you do each and every week.
All right, good to be here, Justin.
46-17. It was a game against Illinois Wesleyan. A lot of motion coming into the game, a lot of back and forth between the two teams, and really on the field is what matters the most. And fourth quarter, you guys scored 21 unanswered points, really put the game away. What was the difference between that fourth quarter in which you really started to dominate that game and the earlier parts where Wesleyan was really sticking tough with your guys?
Well, I think they had a good game plan, especially their first drive in the very first quarter. And our boys really kept executing extremely well in that first quarter. So we ate up almost the entire quarter, which gave our defensive coaches a lot of extra time on the sidelines to try to make some adjustments. We had an injury to one of our starting defensive linemen right away in the first half. He got Alex Tripp got a bad back spasm and so forth. So we were all out of defensive ends. And so we had to move one of our defensive tackles to D end, and he got us through to halftime. The coaches made some more adjustments at halftime, and so really defensively we did a great job the whole second half. Offensively, we had a terrific first half, and then in the third quarter we had a few penalties, a few 3-and-outs, and so forth. And then it all came back together again in the fourth quarter, and the offense, finished very, very strong.
Let's go back to that defensive line work by North Central this past weekend. 36 yards, that was the total that your team gave up rushing against Illinois Wesleyan, against a very good backline, Devontae Jones. Really impressive. This was your season low as far as yards given up on the ground. Right. What can you say about your defensive line through that effort?
Well, obviously they were doing some really great things, but they just their game plan, they kind of abandoned the run. They did not hand the ball off that many times like they normally do, so that also helped. I guess they assumed that they were going to be able to keep throwing, especially when they walked down the field with some great throws that first quarter. I'm sure that gave them a lot of confidence that was going to be able to continue. We got the D-line, what they really did well is they got tremendous pressure on the quarterback. We're looking forward to this week, and but it was really a fun, exciting game against Wesleyan.
Before we head to next week, let's keep it right here and let's look back at last week, see exactly how North Central won in its game against Illinois Wesleyan. A battle of unbeatens in Bloomington. North Central and Illinois Wesleyan at 7-0 facing off for first place in the CCIW. 7-0 in the first, Cards offense looking good. Spencer Stanek rolls out and delivers to Chad O'Kane. 6 plays later, Stanek lobs one up and lets Peter Sorensen find it. And find it he does over the top of Ben Bowie. 14-7 North Central after 1. After a North Central safety makes it 16-7, Cardinals still pushing the pace. 2 passes to Chad O'Kane get North Central inside the red zone. 8 catches and 104 yards for the senior. Then Nick Days connects from 26 to extend the lead. 4 minutes left in the first half. NCC tries again in a post-Halloween trick or treat with the hook and ladder, but there's neither trick nor treat. Fumble recovered for the Titans. Here's Rob Gallick places the ball perfectly in the Cardinals' secondary to Alex Garvey. 2 plays later, Gallick snaps one in the near side. Musselman for the score, 19-14 Cardinals. Let's skip to the fourth, 25-17 NCC. Ryan Kent 36 yards to the Wesleyan 1-yard line. 3 plays later, Cards back to the well. Standing to Sorensen, for the wideout's third of the game, 9th touchdown of the year. NCC's defense wraps the game up in the fourth. Gallic forces the ball into double coverage. The ball pops up for Trey Hardema, his second INT of the year. Then it's Stanek to Ryan Sadarski, 39-17 North Central. Cardinals big winners to take sole possession of the conference. Sticking with the defense here, Coach, Jordan Dean, Connor Douglas, Trey Hardema, Shane Durking, of course, who was the CCIW Defensive Player of the Week, really did a bang-up job in this game. Really, like you said, Rob Gallic had a lot of pressure on him, had to force the ball in a couple times, and that secondary took advantage more than it didn't.
They did, and this will be another week coming up here, against a great quarterback at Wheaton, that they're going to have to also make those kind of plays. I thought they were patient. They tried to keep the receivers in front of them, and they did some great open field tackling, and then they also were ready when the passes started to become off target. And so we got a couple interceptions there, and for us, Spencer took another game where he took really great care of the ball, and we didn't throw interceptions. So that's a good combination. If you can get some interceptions but not throw any yourself, we kind of hope that that continues.
32 completions for Spencer, which was one short of a North Central record. Pretty impressive. I mean, just another notch in his belt. A fantastic year for Spencer. Did another good job of spreading the ball around to different receivers. Chad O'Kane had 8 catches. Peter Sorensen, had 7 catches, 3 touchdowns. Peter really, with that height at 6'5", is such a good red zone target. How do you try to put him into your game plan when he's matched up against some smaller defensive backs?
Well, you would like that to happen, but I think more and more colleges are starting to get even taller at defensive back, just like they are at receiver. But so luckily we were able to find that matchup this week, and Spencer and Peter were really on target with the red zone throws. So again, the week coming up is the one that is all the marbles. So hopefully all these things that have been working for us are things that are going to continue to work. Hopefully is going to have us really ready to play a great game this week, because we finally had to play all 4 quarters.
And that was something that you talked about. The team was very excited about playing a full game, especially on defense, in which is, a lot of games in which you pulled them out in the 3rd and 4th quarter because the rest of the team was doing so well. Let's keep it right here. We will talk about Wheaton in just a second, but first we will head to break. More with Coach Thorne after the break right here on the Red Zone.
Yes, ready. Let's go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
We're back inside the Red Zone. Coach Thorne with us for a few more minutes. And Coach, as we alluded to during that first segment, basically the biggest game of the year each and every season is Wheaton. And we have the battle for the Little Brass Belt coming up on Saturday. I know you look forward to this game each and every year. Coming off a loss last year, 4 turnovers in that game against the Thunder. This year, obviously, you want to clean that up.
Well, you have to take care of the ball. And, last year we lost 3 games, and in those 3 games we had 16 turnovers. So otherwise, last year we had almost no turnovers. So that was a big issue with the team last year. This year, things have really been cleaned up in that area, but Wheaton's going to hit us a lot harder than a lot of the people have been hitting us, and they're going to play great defense. They're a very good team, so there's a lot of pressure on the offense to really take care of the ball, and the defense also to be able to stop the run and defend the pass.
And obviously we've been talking all season long about offense, defense, special teams, the 3 facets of the game, how they get better and better each week. It really all leads to this game essentially. It's important every single year. What's the thought process as a coach when you're building guys up week after week just to get to this game?
Well, you want to try to keep focusing on the game you're playing,
Sure.
but everybody has sort of been waiting for this week. It's the most exciting game for both the Wheaton coaches and the Wheaton players, and for us at North Central. I think we really enjoyed playing against each other. It's always entertaining for the fans, and it's usually a really, really hard-fought, very close game. So now it's finally here, and we got to make sure we don't get guys so excited about playing on Wednesday that they forget to get excited about playing on Saturday. So that's kind of our biggest issue that we're dealing with right now, and getting some good practice in. The weather's not cooperating anymore, and those kinds of things. They have great kicker, a tremendous special teams. Their offense has always been good for years and years and years. Their defense is really solid. That's where they have tons of guys returning. They have 29 seniors. So this will be one of those really good, very hard-fought games, and so we're excited about what's going to happen on Saturday.
Yeah, they're top 15 in the nation in third down defense. They are leading the CCIW in field goals made with 10. I think it's kind of interesting looking at your coaching record against Wheaton in your 12 years, 5-6 against Mike Swider's team. This is the only team in the conference that you have a losing record against. What is it about this team that is so tough?
Well, it's a great rivalry game, so both teams really get excited to play, and Wheaton College gets a real special type of athlete. They're very intelligent guys that are a little bit bigger than most of the players in the rest of the conference. They have a great strength program. They get them really strong, and they always have more speed than other people in the conference. So we've had some really, really close, heartbreaking losses to them, as well as some victories that were close that we won. So we need to get it back to even, but that's really the way you want your rival games to be. When one team wins like 20 years in a row or something, why are we still calling that a rivalry? So it's been great fun. I know Mike has enjoyed it, and his players, and certainly I've enjoyed this series, and our players do too.
And like you said, it's been back and forth. And for the first time since 2008, North Central will head into the battle for the Little Brass Bell without the Little Brass Bell, as we examine in this week's Cardinal Corner. Last year, Wheaton beat North Central 35-21 to take back possession of the Little Brass Bell, the trophy that goes to the winner of this game each year since 1946. Originally a symbol of a political battle between Wheaton and Naperville over the location of the original DuPage County Courthouse in the 19th century, the bell today is now a symbol of the longtime rivalry between the two football programs. Since the bell's introduction, Wheaton owns a 45-19 win advantage.
I just wanted to get it back. We got picked apart last year, and we were not happy after that loss. So, we definitely are going to come out with a lot of energy.
In that loss last year, the Cards gave up 32 completions, nearly 400 yards to quarterback Jordan Roberts. The Thunder have the bell coming into the matchup for the first time in 5 years.
We need to go get that bell back. We got to beat Wheaton next week and Augie the week after. We're not done. We're not satisfied. We're definitely not, satisfied at all with just this week. We got to win out the rest of the season and get ready for playoffs.
If the Thunder win on Saturday, it will be their first back-to-back victory since 2006 and 2007. But the Cardinals won the next 4 games by an aggregate score of 132-41. While the Thunder have become battle-hardened in their 30-19 loss to Illinois Wesleyan 2 weeks ago, the Cards hope their victory over those same Titans and a tough non-conference slate show they'll be ready for Wheaton.
Well, they've had a great prep time for this. That non-conference season that we had with the 3 Wisconsin schools back-to-back prepared us for this stretch run.
Throughout the season, 8th straight CCIW championship, that has been the call. You want that 8th straight CCIW championship. Wheaton standing in your way, and you have Augie to wrap up the season. What do you want to see out of your team to end the season here in the regular season?
Well, I want this to be the best year that we can possibly have for our seniors. Every year, that's our goal, is to make sure the seniors are the highlight of the whole team. And this year's senior class has tremendous leadership. Right away, when they were freshmen, we noticed they're different than any freshman class we'd ever had. And they worked hard in the weight room. At the end of their freshman year, we had freshmen that were in the top 1, 2, or 3 at every single position in their strength. We had freshmen that were getting 4.0s and the best GPAs. We had freshmen that were actually encouraging the teammates to work at it hard. So we've been waiting for this group to be seniors, and we don't want to let things fall apart right now. So this is a really special team. I love these guys. I've loved all the teams we've had, but this group has got a little intangible that maybe is just a tiny bit different than the teams we've had in the past, and we'll see how far it can take us.
I think that the difference on this team is that they're so mentally tough. You know, when you're heading to the fourth quarter, 25-17, a close game against Wesleyan, you come in the fourth quarter and blow them out of the water. I think that shows mental toughness. Is that something that you've noticed with this senior class?
Well, yeah, they are, you know, and it all starts with Shane Durking on the defensive side. I mean, here's the guy that's too small, shouldn't, you know, everybody says you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. And he's just like the little train, I think I can, but he doesn't think. He knows he can. And so we're really expecting a fun, hard-fought game, and it probably will come down to the fourth quarter, and hopefully our guys will have a great finish like they did last week.
Well, you guys have shown it so far this year, and we certainly hope that you can throughout the rest of the year. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's it for Coach, but don't go anywhere. Next on the Red Zone, we're joined by a North Central player that has helped buoy the North Central Special Teams Unit.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
We're back inside the Red Zone. Special teamer Jason Callahan on set with us. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You are, as we mentioned, going to break one of the main components of the special teams unit. You're very successful this season as a senior on the special teams kickoff return team. You make a lot of tackles, you make a lot of noise on those plays. In your mind, what makes a successful gunner on that kickoff return coverage team?
Just, having a nose for the ball, knowing what my opponent's going to do to block me, knowing that I have to either knife across the field to get to the ball or, beat him with speed. Basically getting down the field first and getting a good start. So,
coming off a big win, the Illinois Wesleyan Titans game, as we talked about with Coach, 46-17, the final score in that game. End of the first quarter, a pretty surprising play call by the coaching staff, an onside kick in which you guys recovered it. What was your thought process when you went into that onside kick? I know it's kind of a big decision at that point in the game.
Yeah, well, our thought process was to do our job, and each one of us on that right side had our own job to do, and mine was to get to the ball. And it was probably the fastest I've moved all season. And I got to the ball, and as soon as I touched the ball, I actually ended up getting lit up, which forced the ball to fumble the direction that we got the ball back, and it worked out really well. Both of our guys, ZIPSER, he ended up recovering it, and it just worked out perfect. We planned it perfect. We practiced it, and it was just a surprise to the whole team because no one knew that we were doing it, and it just worked out because their whole kickoff return team was set up perfect for our kickoff to achieve what we wanted.
Now, a special teams play like that, it's such a momentum shift. If you get the ball, huge momentum shift in your favor. If you don't get it, Titans have the ball, on your side of the field. What do you do when you know that there's such a momentum shift possible with a play like that?
What's great with our team is our emotions don't change. We keep a straight face. If not everything's going to go our way in a football game, and you couldn't tell whether or not we were beating a team by 50 points or if we were down by 2 touchdowns. We keep a straight face, and we know what our ultimate goal is in the end, and that's a win, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get that win. And if you show any emotions to the other opposing team, that could definitely change how, the ending result is. And we're really good at keeping a straight face.
And so is, you mentioned the special teams unit. Defensive unit is also very good at keeping a straight face and keeping lockdown as we take a look in this week's What's the Word?
Well, it's great offense. We knew that coming in, that they have a great offense, great quarterback, and very, very talented receivers. So they got a little momentum. Good job of game planning right out of the gate. And so it just took, we always said, things will settle down. And then when the emotion settles down, then just be ready. And so our guys were, and our offense played so well, got them into situations where they had to really throw the ball, and that gives us a pretty good advantage.
We knew what we were going to get pretty much the whole entire game. In the slot, they were going to funnel people out wide. They were trying to get our hands on us to reroute us, but we knew that coming into the game. So I think dumb penalties up front, holding, stuff like that. We just didn't make plays in the second half, which we usually make.
We knew that he was very experienced, and if we gave him enough time, that he was going to make some plays. So what we try to do is put pressure on him, try to get the ball out quick. And in the first half, we didn't do a very good job of that, and he was having some success. But second half, we came out and executed like we need to.
So it's Wheaton this weekend. Biggest game of the year, more or less, each and every year. You've been a part of a couple of Wheaton games now. I know you guys go into a game super well prepared, and scout team's part of that, as we were talking a little bit before we went on here. How does the scout team help you, and in which ways do you use what they help you prepare with into a big game like this with Wheaton?
Well, they're always going fast pace. We have, for our defensive side, we have 2 to 3 teams running. So, they're coming out one after another. We get our play call, and it's ball snapped and ready to go. And it's they're fast-paced, and they're pushing us hard,
Coach Thorne, when we had him on a couple of moments ago, he was telling us how this senior class, is one of the best he's had, and he saw the potential of the senior class back when you guys were freshmen. As part of the senior class, what do you think makes it so special?
Well, all the guys are very, warm welcoming. And for me, I didn't get to come here as a freshman. I was a transfer. So last year was my first year. And not knowing that this was my potential, last year of playing, they were very welcoming and accepting the fact that, hey, I wasn't a beginning guy. I didn't come here and go through all the battles that they did in the beginning. But they very great guys, and, they do anything for me as much as I would do anything for them. And our team bond and unit is very special. And I've been on a lot of teams, and not many, none of them has had what we have on this Cardinal team.
Well, I think you've carved out a really nice niche for yourself. Really fantastic on special teams. We wish you the best of luck, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
When we return, North Central Sports Information Director Clark TEUSCHER joins us to talk about a very important week in Cardinals cross country. Next on the Red Zone.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
The Red Zone is back. We wrap up another episode with North Central SID. Clark TEUSCHER. Clark, thanks for joining us.
It's nice to be here.
We had a big weekend, not just for football, but also for cross country. It was the CCIW Championships. The men and women both coming in with successful runs at St. James Farm in Warrenville. The men won their 40th straight CCIW title.
It was a perfect score for the 7th time in their history. It was the kind of performance that they were looking to put together. as they try to put their stamp on the program as one of the best teams in its history. And there's 3 opportunities to leave a mark like that, and this was the first one, and they got the job done.
And it was really a dominant run. 9 of the top 10 finishers in this race were wearing Cardinal red.
Yeah, and that's actually, as thrilling as that was to see, to talk to Al Carius after the race, that's his biggest area of concern is he's only allowed to run 7 at the regional. So, he's got to take 2 guys who are, potentially all-America caliber runners and put them on the sideline for that meet. So, it's a good problem to have. It's kind of an embarrassment of riches, but, it certainly, spoke to how committed and how dedicated these guys have been to preparing for this meet all season long.
For Al, his 44th CCIW title in 48 years at North Central. Let's move on to the women. They came in looking for a 4th CCIW title in 5 years, and they came up just a single point short.
Yeah, it's really tough to find a meet that's closer than that between the top 2 teams. All 7 finishers for both teams were within about 45 seconds of each other. So really, you're just talking a few strides either way of a completely different outcome. And for a team that finished 4th a year ago and was really not in contention for the title at that time on the same course, to come back and come within, a hair's breadth of winning it is certainly a step up for a team with counting on, some really young runners in the top 7.
And Augustana was the team that beat North Central by 1 point. What's the general sense? You were at St. James on Saturday. What's the general sense of this women's team heading into regionals?
That they took another step forward. I think that's the big point, is that they continue to see progress. They saw a team that was, they got into the thick of things early and pushed and contended for the win against a very good program in Augustana that they're going to see again in the regional. So, I think they're feeling pretty upbeat about their chances of trying to advance to the national championships as a team for the 3rd time in their history.
Now, speaking of a women's team trying to take that next stride in progress, we have the women's basketball team, and they're coming up here on its schedule in a little bit. We have a team coached by Michelle Roof in the 2nd year of an offensive system that had mixed results last year, 13-13 overall, 6-8 in the conference. What can you tell us about the general sense of this women's team heading into the year?
That they feel like they're starting from a point that's further ahead than they started from a year ago. They're not having to do quite as much teaching of the system itself during practice, and able to kind of fine-tune some things and make sure that the new players are in the right places and doing the right things. And once they get into conference play, it should lend to them being able to tailor things a little more to their opposition, rather than simply having to focus on making sure they were doing the right things on their own end throughout the entire 40 minutes.
Well, good thoughts as always, Clark. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
We're done for this episode, and again, the big week is here. North Central and Wheaton on Saturday for the Little Brass Bell. Stay up to date with the game on NorthCentralCardinals.com and look for highlights and interviews this weekend on YouTube.com/NorthCentralSports. I'm Justin ZIPSER. We'll see you next week on the Red Zone.